All right, so it's 9:30, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is integrating GitHub into your FTC team's journey. We're Team 5115. I'm Graydon.
I'm Chase.
And I'm Camden.
All right, so one of the big things my team specifically has been working on throughout this entire year is the code training module. So there's a little QR code here if you guys want to scan that. It's also on the pamphlets, which feel free to grab. They're just on top of that projector right there. It has a bunch of tutorials covering all of my coding knowledge and everything that I have learned. It has everything from beginner to advanced programming proficiency, so it's good for new people to learn coding, as well as advanced programmers to learn new concepts like subsystems, hardware op modes, all that kind of stuff. It's ideal for rookie FTC programmers because that was the main reason it was created, was to help onboard people into the program and get everybody set up as quickly as possible. It's being continuously updated and enhanced, so everything I'm learning is being put directly onto there, to my understanding, and it's all being updated consistently. There's a bunch of code samples to help you learn very quickly, because I personally have realized that I learn better if I have something I can see, take, and then manipulate to see what works and how to change it. And there's a bunch of documentation on all the subjects in that code training module. So the big thing we're doing today is Git and GitHub. So Git is the cloud-based version control system for all of your code. So it allows you to save all of your code to the cloud. It allows you to efficiently share your code with collaborators, as well as track changes and easily revert them if needed. It offers visualization tools to understand the history of changes and collaborations within a project, so you're able to visualize everything and see exactly what happened when. And actually, Git is not the same as GitHub, which a lot of people misunderstand when they first see it, because Git is the software on your computer that allows you to do all of this, and GitHub is the way you can actually see it on the web and just manipulate it from the web. So the basic steps are to, number one, create a GitHub account.
And if you don't have a GitHub account, just get one, especially if you're in robotics. It makes your life so much easier.
And then fork FTC's repository, which we'll hit on later, but that is one of the most important steps you can possibly do. Then you'll clone it onto your computer on Android Studio. Then after that, you're ready to just start coding from there. After that, you'll commit the changes, push the changes, and then pull those changes to another device or even your own device if you need to.
Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of a demonstration. So right now with our current code, when I press circle, it becomes this lava and red pattern, and when I press cross, it becomes this ice pattern.
So let's say we're in the lab and we need Graydon to change these colors so he can send them over to us. So we can text him up and be like, hey Graydon, can you make these changes and upload them to the GitHub? Maybe change them to like a forest green and a confetti type color.
Okay, so now what I can do is I can be at home, across the world, really wherever, and I can make these changes by just simply changing this. And obviously this is just an example of a change, but I'll change it to the forest palette, and then, that is gone. I'll change the other one to the confetti. So we've made those changes. We can see on this left-hand side right here, we can see that yes, this change has been made from the ocean palette to the forest palette. Then we can just hit the commit button, and it'll show us on this side that we have made one change to one file. We can tap on this and see exactly what has been changed and the difference between the two files. So we can see that this is the old one right here, and this is the new one. So this is the stuff we're going to be committing to the cloud. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add a commit message. So we'll just say change to forest, and then hit the commit and push button. And then once we hit the push button, it should go all the way through and then be on the cloud to where they can pull it down from anywhere else in the world and are able to develop that code.
Okay, so now if we go to our GitHub right here, you can see it still says ocean palette and lava palette down here, which was our old pattern. If we reload our GitHub, Now it is loaded with what he just uploaded, and we have the forest palette and the confetti that he just changed. So now if we go to Android Studio and we update the project, now it's grabbing from the GitHub, or from the cloud, our current code. See, so now it's updated. So if we run this to our control hub, and then I'll explain GitHub a little bit more. So when you're using GitHub, you first want to make a fork of the official FTC GitHub. So then you have your own repository of it.
And we really want to emphasize forking over just cloning, because when FTC makes a repository for every year and you just clone it down, any changes they make later in the year will not be changed to yours and your code will be messed up. Whereas if you fork it, any changes FTC makes will be made to your code and your code will continue to work as long as you keep it updated.
So then, once you have your repository, you want to clone it to your local computer, so now it's on your computer. Then if you make any changes and you want to save these changes on your computer, that's just called a commit. So you make the change and then you save it. Then if you want to bring this code back to your repository in the cloud, or you want to pull it back down, a push would bring it from your computer to the cloud, and then a pull, anyone with access to your repository could pull it to their computer or someone else's computer. So now I can show you that the current code has gone to the control hub. And so if I press circle, now we have the confetti animation. And if I press cross, now we have the forest green animation.
Okay, and another thing we mentioned was being able to visualize and track all the changes that have been made to a project. So the way we're able to do this is we can go on Android Studio, so this is back on my computer. We go down to this button right here and we can see that it has every single change that has been made. So we can see that 3 minutes ago we made a change to forest commit, which is the one we just did. And then we can see all the way back to where the FTC developers even are releasing commits and pushing those to the cloud. And they are all tracked too. So if we wanted to, we could go back to any one of these versions that FTC released, which we're not going to do, but it's very nice because you can see everything that's happened. And when you have a more complex project, like if me, Chase, and Camden were all coding at the same time, we can see who has made the changes when, and even if someone has made a branch or something like that, which is basically just if you say, okay, we have our regular code, then we can make a branch of it that's the same code, but now we can make changes to it without affecting the main branch. And then once you're done coding there, you can merge it back into the main branch, and it should merge the conflicts fairly quickly.
So go on, Git. Any questions?
So how do you create that project on GitHub website?
How do you create a project on GitHub website?
Okay, so on GitHub's website, they have a button. So after you create an account, you can see on GitHub that you can make a new repository fairly quickly. But again, we were told by a bunch of people that we need to emphasize forking the repository, because that's the big thing. Because when FTC releases a new version of the control software, it's much easier to update your control hub through the code versus updating it through manipulating the files on the Android stuff. Because the main reason for that is when they release a new version, it's a new app version for the control hub. So it's very important that they have full control over the app that they're sending to their control hubs.
And just as a visual, you can see here I'm on the home page of my GitHub account. There's just a plus in the corner, and there's a bunch of options, but you can just say create new repository, and you can go through all these settings. Like I can just say public, sure, no template, just put it in as test, and I can create a repository, and it will build a new repository. And it's as easy as that.
So how does your team facilitate and manage branches? You have like many members with different things, like one is working on the intake and one is working on drivetrain. Like how do you manage your branches in GitHub?
Okay, so the question is how we manage branches in our team. And specifically for us, that's not super applicable to us because we're a 7-person team. I'm the only coder on our team. So it's mainly me that's doing it. But I would imagine that if I was working on like the intake subsystem or something like that, I could create a new branch and only work on those parts. And then Chase or something could be working on the drivetrain. And what GitHub allows you to do is merge those conflicts pretty fluidly. So it allows you to see exactly what was changed when, and then it has a button that just says, yeah, I want to merge these commits and merge these branches, and it should just allow you to just bring them back together pretty quickly. So does that answer your question? Okay, so yeah, the question is how the branches get merged back in. So what happens is the branches go out, right? And then it's the same code, just it's a different branch of that code. Then what you do is you create a pull request. So what that does is it tells GitHub, okay, I want to merge these branches back together into the main branch. And then what that allows you to do is also merge those commits together, and that's when GitHub allows you to merge the branches and put them all back into one. Yeah.
What would the procedure be for reverting to a previous commit?
Okay, so when reverting to a previous commit, you're able to pretty much just, if you're on the visualization stuff, you can just right-click it and hit revert commit. So it's pretty simple. You can also do stuff like undoing a commit. So I can like right-click this and just hit revert commit. And then it should just automatically, it's gonna have a bunch of conflicts that it wants you to merge, which I'm not gonna do right now because I actually have a use for this repository right now, but it would make you merge those conflicts and just make sure everything is okay and ready to go. And then once you do that, it should just reset the branch to there.
You said that you were on the team, so I'm wondering, how has Git been helpful for you?
Yeah, so Git has been very helpful for me because I know personally I have had a lot of computer troubles over the past couple years. There were a bunch of times where I just, I had to switch computers a lot in my first year because I had my home computer and I had a school computer. So the school computer was what I was using to upload it, home computer was just whatever I was doing at home. So that was very easy because I could sync it between those two devices pretty seamlessly, and it allowed me to code from multiple places at once and just make changes whenever I wanted to.
I will also say if you were to change the code and it did something very bad, you could revert back using GitHub. So then you could go back to the code before you added that change.
And about where he may be our only major coder, but if he's out and we need to make slight changes, like we all have enough skill where if something needs tweaking, we can do it and then update the project so he knows exactly where he's starting from when he comes back in, or vice versa.
Yeah, and with that too, it allows you to see exactly what has been changed on GitHub as well. So if they go in and make a slight change, like tweaking some of the variables or something, I can see that and see exactly what was changed when. And that allows me to be able to know, okay, what are we doing? What did they try and do? What do I need to maybe fix if they broke it? All that kind of stuff.
I'm wondering, since GitHub is mainly for programmers, is there any other software for different departments about this?
Yeah, so software for different departments. We've tried using GitHub for STL files, and that works fairly well. We also use Onshape for STL files specifically, but we also use Google Drive as one of our big ones. We just have like a shared folder that we can just use there. and that allows us to just share files on Google Drive. Onshape, we can just download files from pretty much anywhere because we have our full robot catted in Onshape, all that kind of stuff.
I will, if you want to switch it.
Sorry to interrupt, it's 9:45.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have, on a final note on what he said, we have a shared Onshape document with our entire robot in it if it decides to load. And it's as updated as it can be, but yeah, everyone can access and make changes. So.
All right, well, thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. All of our information is on those pamphlets. Feel free to take them. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.